All right. All right, boys and girls. Here, let me turn music on as well, right? All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a fucking tier list. It's time for the companion tier list. Now, we need to make some adjustments to these tiers before we continue any further. That's going to be the number one, is that we need to make some just simple adjustments like what these tiers are. Because there's a few things in here, right? So this bottom rank here is going to be trash, and this rank right here is going to be aesthetics only. Oh, missed an S. Aesthetics only. Aesthetics only and trash. And then right here we have usable. Isn't E correct in this? Right here? Is that E correct? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so we're making some adjustments here. We got S and A, like you'd imagine. Then we got usable, aesthetics only, and just trash. So this is going to be very scientific. We're just going to go in order. We're just going to go in order from here and just move on through here. And the basis of this is how good a companion is at doing what a companion needs to do, and then all of its other bonuses are a bonus. So first and foremost, the Sahasa is a totally fine choice. I would actually put the Sahasa. It's going to be in low A, but the Sahasa is fine. Bonus, you get to do some memes with the Adarza, but adding a shitload of crit is like a decent damage buff. If it still worked on operators, I would honestly consider putting this in S rank, but it no longer works on operators, so you can't speed up the horrible Eidolon fights. There's that. But yeah, this is the crit cat. Pretty decent. Crescent. So the Crescent is a Vulpaphyla. These are the new Deimos pets, and this goes directly into S. And the reason this goes directly into S is that this fulfills the number one thing that a companion needs to do in Warframe. It doesn't die. Because when they die, they become little sentinels, and then they just come back. You always have access to vacuum. You always have access to animal instinct. They revive themselves, so you don't have to worry about it. And the Crescent is great for that. All of the Vulpas, actually, just a shortcut here, are great for that. We're just going to take all of the Vulpas and put them right up here where they go. The Vulpas, I would say, are the best companions in the game. With the order being that Panzer, I would say, is overall the best, because it's also like a mini Saren, in addition to all the other bonuses that Vulpas have. And then Sly is like kind of more of a defensive slanted version with this, where it gives you a bunch of dodge and stuff. And with Crescent being the worst because its ability kind of just doesn't matter. It's just that it's a Vulpaphyla, and being a Vulpaphyla is the minimum for being absolutely incredible. Moving on, these things, these little symbols here, these are the Moas, and we're just gonna shortcut and put them all in trash tier. They have no good abilities that are not gimmicks. You could theoretically make one that is your aesthetic, but like they're garbage. They're completely useless garbage that run up to enemies and die, and they're useless. They're completely useless. Outside of the mastery that they give, they are absolute garbage. Basically completely unusable. Now we get into the other pets that came from Deimos. So for that, we have the Medjay, and then we have, where's the other one? Yeah, the Vizier, and then the Pharaoh. Because I like the way it looks, we're gonna put it in aesthetics only. Because I do like the way that the Pharaoh Predicites look, but their abilities are all completely useless, and they don't survive for jack shit. So they're trash, and they belong down here. They are completely useless, and why would I bother? Similarly, we have Sahasa Kubrows. These are the ones that stop capture targets from moving, or some useless trash. All of the Kubrows except for the Sahasa Kubrow, who I will put also in A, because the Sahasa Kubrow has dig, and with dig, it will dig up energy or ammo whenever you need it, which is determined by your current energy level. So if you are low on energy, the Sahasa will prioritize digging up energy orbs for you to fill you up on energy, which is actually really, really useful and also doesn't require any enemies to be around. So for certain situations, like infinite stacking Gara, for example, this can be super, super good. It's pretty niche, and also the Sahasa has a really expensive build, much like the Adarza, but it is like a legitimate thing that some Warframes are going to want. Moving on, we have Worm. Worm, I would probably, like, this is going to be a trend, but the Sentinels tend towards keeping themselves out of trouble. So I'm actually going to put Worm. He's going to be low in it, but he's going to be in the usable tier. The Sentinels tend to keep themselves out of trouble and keep themselves alive outside of a lot of AoE attacks. They don't put themselves in direct death danger and welcome death and wish it upon themselves like a lot of these other things on here, like the Roxa, which is also, it wishes death upon itself and everyone else. The Chessa also just dies. Pretty much all the dogs are not useful. They wish death upon themselves, and they will run directly into danger and vanish. Prisma Shade, usable tier. Again, it's a Sentinel. Sentinels kind of immediately rise above a lot of other things because they're just generically survivable and like they don't get themselves into too much trouble. I will say that in the usable tier, in terms of a little bit of ordering here, I will put this as the like general stuff here. Carrier Prime specifically is much more survivable just due to the Prime stats increase. Helios has the scanning niche. I will put Helios Prime a little bit higher. I'll actually put Helios Prime over Taxon. Taxon has some shield restore stuff, and due to having shield gates and things, I would put him like a bit higher up here as well. And then we have Jin. So Jin has a augment that makes it constantly revive itself. Now, it is like a much, much longer time. And also, like, Jin's abilities are kind of whatever. Actually, I would actually put Jin above the Sahasa. Actually, I'd put it above the Adarza, too. Because Jin keeps coming back, even if it's a bit slow, I do think that Jin belongs up here just because Jin keeps coming back and you don't have to worry about it, and there's no maintenance. It just does it. It just does the thing that you'd want the Sentinel to do, which is continually come back. And then we have Oxalis. So, Oxalis is a utility sentinel, and it is one of the best utility sentinels for any kind of outdoor stuff. This is going to be the thing that you want. It dies for, or not dies, but it puts dye into water for any kind of fishing that you want to do, which sounds really minor, but is actually really, really nice. And in addition to that, it has an augment that automatically scans plants in the environment. And like that's super useful if you just want to passively build up like the stuff to farm more of the grove or do any kind of business like that. Like Oxalis is actually like a super solid companion, and I'm gonna put it actually probably right below Jin. Like the Adarza crit is nice and the Sahasa stuff is nice too, but like Oxalis is just raw utility is super, super strong. Carrier, I'm gonna put just below this here. Oh, I forgot one of the dogs that goes down into trash tier. Then we have the Helminth dog, exactly the same problems as the rest of them. And then we have the brand new, these are the Sisters of Parvos dogs, and they go right back, they go right down here. They go right down here with the rest of them. Absolute fucking garbage. Just completely unusable. They wish death upon themselves. It is absolutely sad. So then we have Nautilus, who is the Railjack focused Sentinel. Basically, he can repair stuff on your Railjack for free. If it was just via his just raw presence on the ship that things were repaired, I think I would look at this a bit more favorably. But as it stands for me personally, because I do value my codex, I would put this below Helios Prime. If it was just the mere presence on the ship could repair things, that would be one thing, but you do have to get near the stuff to repair it. But yeah, Nautilus, decent enough. Like it's usable. Like if you want that utility on Railjack, that's a thing, but it's a very small utility overall. Moving on, we have Death Cube. I'm gonna put Death Cube Prime. I'll put it above Shade. And also regular shade, I'll put here. Other worm can go here. Regular death cube can go all the way at the bottom. Oh, and oh no, what is your name? Oh god, what's the balloon's name? I call it the balloon. Diriga? Diriga, I mean, Diriga's weapon is kind of a thing. But as for the actual Sentinel, I mean, I would put it like, I'd probably put here. Yeah, I mean, the weapon is kind of a thing. Like, not really, but like kind of. But it as like itself is like probably like middle of the pack on usable. And then we have two opposite ends of the spectrum. We have the Smedakavat. So the Smedakavat has a buff that says you receive double affinity and double resource drops. And that's all it needs to say. I don't think it's as good as the Vulpaphyla, because I think that, like, I just value always having the companion and not having to think about it and not having to constantly revive the Smeda. But if you need that extra affinity, or if you need those extra resources, this is the only place to go. Like, in terms of a companion, this is all you have. It also stacks on itself sometimes. Obviously, it's very random because it's part of Charm. But some of the other parts of Charm, like, aren't so bad. Like, free reload, like, that's okay. Getting like 300% crit or however much crit it is like nice. Like, sure, like it's a nice bonus. Like, you're not rolling anything that's like purely detrimental to you. And like the possible huge upsides that you can receive from the Smeda are just really worth it in certain scenarios. Most of the time, even if I'm farming, I am gonna stick to a Vulpa. But you know, I would actually, because the Crescent doesn't have an outside ability, I would actually say that this is actually maybe a little more accurate to say that the Smeda is above the Crescent Vulpaphyla, because Sly and Panzer both do an additional thing that is also very good, and Crescent really doesn't. So I would actually put Smeda just barely above it. And then finally, we have the Vasco Kavat, which has lifesteal vampire gimmick thing. It's kind of cool looking. It's not useful, but it's like, it's there. It also wants to die. It craves death. Much like everything you see down here in the trash tier, which is not ordered, by the way. They're all just garbage. Like, it's all just like mastery fodder, like useless schlock, that will just run in front of enemies and evaporate, and then you're gonna have to revive it, and it's just annoying as shit. So yeah, so there's that. But yeah, this is how companions work right now. Also, thank you very much to that one guy, or Tog, in the chat for putting together the image of all these. It was very, very convenient. I very much appreciate that, as there was not a up-to-date tier list with all the companions and stuff. But yeah, this is how I feel about where companions are right now. I will say that if you really, really care about getting your codex fleshed out, Helios Prime could maybe move into the bottom of A. Definitely possible. But yeah, these are my personal aesthetic choices because I do really love how both of these look. But everything down here is bad. It's not good. Don't like it. And these Vulpaphyla are the real shit. Hopefully they don't get nerfed to like not revive themselves, because then we'll be back to only the Smeda is really realistically any good, or we might just go back to Jin because it'll also revive itself. But yeah, good business overall. Well, not good business. I mean, overall it's like pretty rough down here, and then like up here you have things that are usable, and it's pretty evenly divided between Sentinels are usable and everything else is not, outside of the really good options. But that's where companions are at current. If you guys have enjoyed this, if there are any questions in the YouTube comments, feel free to ask them. I would love for people to tell me how good Shade is because they went invisible for 3 hours in a survival once. Wouldn't that be fun? That's probably a thing I'll hear from somebody. But yeah, that's where companions lie currently. Goodbye, everyone on YouTube. We're continuing on to some Genshin stuff. Taxon should be A tier for being friend-shaped, but otherwise I'm on board. You know, you're valid for that. Maybe Taxon Prime. Why is Jin so high? I forgot what it does. It does the McDonald's version of what the Vulpas do.